I'm Rover, and you're about to listen to a chapter of the audio version of my book, The Moongazers, a pirate queer adventure story. This is a 30-chapter series. Are you enjoying this project, and would you like to support me? You can do that by becoming a patron or buy me a coffee through Buy Me a Coffee. Enjoy! Chapter 2. Frey. This is the sea. An unpredictable danger zone that tosses you through forever changing weather conditions. A place that keeps you stuck, that won't let you go except in a lifeboat you have to hope will withstand the waves. Everyone was somewhere in the world when it started falling apart. I was 10 years old, on a boat with my parents. The last image I have of them is the two of them running through the hallways of that ship, with me hastily following in tow. My sister and I had landed on a different lifeboat. We made it. We saw the ship sinking in the moonlight, and the only reason I'm not decomposing next to my parents somewhere at the bottom of that sea is that our lifeboat floated towards the quayside, and theirs didn't. From that day on, not only was the world different, I had become different too. I haven't dared to go out to sea since then. Yet, this morning, I woke up on board a ship again. With the door closed, the cabin is completely dark, and it takes me a while to realize where I am. I thought I would never fall asleep yesterday. I went out to walk around on the ship at night, and I sensed Yara following me, keeping her eyes on me wherever I went. I get it. I would have done the same if I was her. My brain is conditioned to always find escape routes, so that's what I did last night. But it didn't take long to reach the same conclusion I had already gotten to before. The sea won't allow me to get away. I doubt I'll get pulled out of the water a second time if I jump ship. So I quickly gave up and started mulling over everything I had seen so far. I went back to my room and tried to catch some sleep. I was restless. The ship's heaving motions brought back memories I couldn't push away quick enough. Even now, the first thing that comes to mind as I wake up is that night. The night my life changed forever. When everyone's life changed forever. I built a wall around that memory, shut it off, put it away. I get up and move towards the place where I had food yesterday. Out of the room, through the small passageway that leads to the deck. I cross the deck and reach the dining area beneath the foredeck on the other side. The deck and the dining area are not separated by any walls, so people walk in and out freely. There are some tables, and on one of them stands a cableless electric kettle filled with water. A man cooking in a tiny kitchen in a corner hands me a plate of porridge. The pink plastic plate has the word Barbie written on it, and I scrape down the gooey mush. A drawing of a blonde woman begins to smile up at me. Yesterday, as I was going to bed, several women stopped me to introduce themselves and find out my name, as if they had all been present at the conversation that I had with Jude, as if the decision that I was to stay on board had been communicated telepathically. I shook some hands and I introduced myself as briefly as possible before hurrying off. I didn't feel at ease with them. Avert my eyes, let their names flow in one ear, out the other. I wasn't about to make friends or become part of this bizarre bunch. I was just going to sit out my time here. And yet, the people are looking at me expectantly as I shove down my watery breakfast, as if I were going to make the rounds and present myself at every single table. No way, I didn't choose to be here. A terrifying thought crosses my mind. Several months at sea, maybe longer, Frey will think I'm dead. So will Tyra. And they might be right. I might actually die. I think of the storms that have grown in frequency and intensity since the Great Change. My head and body disjoin as my thoughts are tumbling over each other. Anything can happen in a few months, half a year. Would Ray wait for me for that long? In any case, I have no choice but to wait until we drop anchor. Jude had been extremely clear. She hadn't used more words than necessary. Strong, confident, as one in charge of all these people has to be. And clearly, she has something to hide. As quickly as she was to pull the maps off the table. So here I am, on a ship full of freaks, going somewhere unknown. I must have butted into their mission, whatever it is. It brings me back to my own mission, the dead Erosmel, choked on his own blood. I recall Jude's words. I can only hope his empire falls apart like a house of cards. That's the problem when the rich rule. Their militias are only as strong as the amount of gold in their safes. Well, Erosmel's safe should now be reduced to housing rats and mice. I try to bring my mind to rest, to come back to the here and now. Slowly, more people enter and take their seats in small groups to eat their food. They're wearing practical clothes, but they are clearly from different origins, and every single one of them looks like they have a story to tell. That's nothing like Brekersand, where everybody tries to look as ordinary and unexceptional as possible, and to avoid drawing attention at any cost. I don't feel like answering questions or getting to know people, so I withdraw to the foredeck. Even here, it is difficult to find an isolated spot. At the bow, an old woman with grey hair is standing watch. She nods at me and beckons me to join her. I oblige. She hands me her binoculars and points at a white and red dot in the distance. I press the binoculars to my eyes and discern a ship. The number of windows on the side tells me this is not some little dinghy, but a larger vessel. The woman looks at me excitedly, as if this is something to be happy about. Before I can say or ask anything, she blows her red whistle. It takes only moments for the hold to begin bustling. There is a major clamor as footsteps resound, and before I know it, I'm surrounded by a crowd of people. With hair hanging loose, half of their clothes unbuttoned, some still with cups in their hands. They cheer, give out hugs, and pat each other on the back. Jude joins the scene too. She takes up the binoculars and shouts something to the person standing at the helm. The gigantic ship takes a slow turn, and I realize in horror that we are heading straight towards the dot on the horizon. There's a strong wind blowing, and we pick up speed. The ship cleaves the water. It makes me sick, and as I lose my breakfast over the side, I see in the foaming water only a grim, cold death staring back at me. The closer we get, the clearer its enormity. People all around me are starting to get ready for something, scurrying around across the deck nervously. 3 people are sitting at the table, picking through various weapons. Large bags and empty plastic containers. Clearly, something is afoot, but I can't say what it is, nor do I know whether I should get involved. As it is, I'm doing all I can to keep down the rest of my Barbie mush. But something, other than my bowels, stirs inside me watching this frenzy. Suddenly, I feel a tap on my shoulder. In a flash, I turn around and grab the wrist of the person standing so close to me. Too quickly. A new wave of nausea washes over me and my hold slackens. Jude yanks her wrist free. Jesus, Frey, calm down. Her disgruntled look disappears in just a moment. I must look like a walking corpse. At least that's what I feel like. Nauseous, dirty, and in fact, grumpy. Am I really going to have to be sick for months on this goddamn boat, far away from everything? I do my best to look at her defiantly. What? I say curtly. You know what ship that is? Jude points at the bulky monstrosity the tailwind is carrying us toward. I shrug. I can't say I care less about who these people are or why they are sailing towards some colossal ship. I just want to get off this boat, back to where I was. Press the reset button. Well, whether you want to know or not, it doesn't matter, because you're coming with us. She continues, now in a more imperative tone. Then, smilingly, I imagined you'd be one of the adventurous types. I refuse to respond to her smile. Unperturbed, she carries on. This is it. We've been looking for this metal beast for weeks. A needle in a haystack, some said. But here we are. Here she is. Her voice is filled with the sound of excitement, pride, and naive enthusiasm. A deadly trio. I try to think of something to say, but the week off is rolling over an enormous wave. As my stomach turns, I try to keep hold of the railing. And ungracefully, I vomit out the remains of my breakfast and see the sea swallowing it up. The foaming water hits my face, as if the sea wants to let me know that she isn't happy to see me either. Likewise, I mutter. I turn to Jude, attempting to keep my dignity intact. Not sure it shows, but I'm not exactly in the adventure mode at the moment. She laughs, tosses her hair over her shoulder, and throws my knives at my feet. You're going to need those. Before turning around, she shouts over the wind. Ask Yara to do something about your situation. I'll see you in an hour, ready on deck. So kind, so cheerful. What a horrible person. This Jude character is already acting as if we've known each other for years. Insufferable. I don't have to look hard for Yara, as she comes to find me first. She looks me in the eyes sympathetically and passes me a nasty drink that leaves a sharp taste in my mouth. That ought to do. Now, let's go, she says resolutely. She points at a smaller plate of food that I cram down. Half an hour later, I feel a bit better. No longer nauseous, but still moody. Hanging around on this ship or another. Dying today or tomorrow. What's the difference? I grumble to myself resentfully as I methodically hang my blades. A sense of familiarity rolls over me while I touch my accomplices. I begin to steady on the deck of this moving vessel, finally feeling more at home. I prepare myself. I wear a combination of daggers and throwing knives. 4 at my ribs, 2 each in my sleeves, on my thighs and above my ankles, and 3 on my back. To some, throwing knives are an ill-advised kind of weapon. After all, enemies can throw them back at you. But I appreciate the speed and agility you need to throw a blade. As I routinely strap on my weapons and stretch my limbs, I check the contents of my bag. A water purifier that might still work, a whetstone, and some clothes. I decide to take the bag with me, as I have no idea whether I'll come back here or not. I scan my cabin for other things that might be useful in case I end up alone again. A length of rope finds its way to my bag. I walk up to the women Jude indicated me to join. There are only 3 of them, but I recognize them immediately from their weapons and the nervous looks they carry. I take a seat at their table. There you are, a broad-shouldered woman says welcomely. Her skin is pale, her chestnut hair is tied into a bun, and grey eyes look out from a pointy face. She is tall and wears a tight jacket and knee-length pants. The muscles that show beneath her sleeves look strong and hard. She has wrinkles around her eyes and mouth. "We're thinking Jude hadn't managed to get you along," she says in an equally horribly considerate tone. "Thank you for helping us." She tries to tie her hair down more tightly and looks at me with wide open eyes. "What's your name?" "Frey," I say, looking coldly at all three women, as if I had a choice in coming along. But now that I feel a little less queasy, I'm slightly more optimistic about this venture. It might be possible to find an escape from the big ship we're about to enter. "It looks like I'm going to be spending some time on this boat with you," I declare, because I feel like I should say something. They nod briefly, as if this is old news. "I am Deva," the woman continues. "This is Layla, and that's Kathy." She points at the woman next to her. "We're the only ones on this ship who have some idea on how to handle ourselves in a fight. So that's why you're coming with us. We don't know what's waiting for us on the SS Opal. There might be people on board, or there might not be. Our mission is to sneak on and find out." I nod. I couldn't count the number of times I had similar instructions before a mission. Deva is brief and businesslike, and I'm happy she understands I don't feel like a prolonged round of introductions. She explains the layout of the ship with its number of floors and where we will enter. We have 3 targets. 1, find out if there are people on board and identify if they're friends or enemies. 2, find out if there's any fuel. 3, this ship should have a series of solar panels. If they are intact and if it's safe, we'll take them. But first we explore the entire ship. In case there's no one there, the rest of the circle will come to help. All clear? She looks at us. While Deva is explaining all this, I take a minute to study the other women. Layla is rocking on her chair restlessly. She has also put her brown hair in a bun. She wears washed-out black leggings, a brown coat, and has a gun placed in a holster on her hip. I wonder if it works. Layla has a dark, warm-toned skin, and on her cheek runs a scar that gives her a somewhat dangerous appearance. In contrast, Kathy sits quietly on her chair and hardly moves a muscle. She is slender, her white skin is pale and decorated with some freckles. She reminds me of Frey, but much smaller, almost drowning in the clothes that she wears. Her posture is straight, and her grey eyes look on the world with confidence. She can't be much older than 20. Her short, thin hair sticks wispily out of her head. Finally, Deva gives us orders and matches us up. I am to go to the lowest floor of the ship with Layla. Great. As if they can't get rid of me quick enough. Or maybe they want to test me. I can't say. Layla doesn't seem to be too happy with the prospects either. But Deva, she protests, addressing her superior as if she's an old friend. We don't even know her, and I must get onto that ship with her? No way, she just got here. How are we trusting her with this? As she finishes, Layla looks at me challengingly. Deva sighs. I hear you. She turns to me. Would you abandon Layla? Leave her to her own devices in case something went wrong? I shrug. I feel so empty, as if nothing matters anymore. One moment, you're on a mission to murder some billionaire. The next, you're about to set foot on a ghost ship with a group of women you know nothing about. How they fight, why we do this, what they're up to with the stuff they're looking for. One crew member more or less, I couldn't care. But I obviously can't say that. I'll make sure Layla gets back safe and sound, I say slowly. Deva looks at me distrustfully, And so does Layla. You see, Layla exclaims, she doesn't know us. Why should she come along? What does she care if one of us dies? I'm not about to tie my life to hers before I know if she wouldn't betray us at the first opportunity. Bold move, I can only think. To cross your commanding officer like that? How will Deva respond? But she just looks back, and then at the group. I can't suppress a frown. Anyone have a suggestion? The person called Kathy clears her throat. I'll take her on, she says and looks straight at me. But if you betray me, in whatever way or form, I will shove you into the roaring depths as soon as I can. And if not me, my sisters will. I'm not sure if she means it, but to be swallowed by those waves, I shiver. If I'm stuck here anyway, I might as well make the best of it. And the best would still be to get out of here alive, of course. Maybe on the big cruise ship, I can find a smaller boat that will take me somewhere else. Or maps that will tell me where I am and where to go. Or something that will allow me to contact Ray. Thinking of Ray, my heart sinks. Ray has no one but me. They'll be worried. What if the meeting point isn't safe enough? Would Ray wait for me in Melzhaven all that time? A grim feeling takes hold of me as I see the iron case called the SS Opal rise into view.